Hey everyone, what's up? Today we're going to take a look at the MINISFORUM M1 Lite 125U, sporting a low-powered mobile CPU in form of the Intel Core Ultra 5125U with 12 cores and 14 threads. That in this mini PC runs at around 35 watts stable, and it can be overclocked to around 45 watt via the BIOS for a small boost, while it even stays very cool with around 75 degrees Celsius at 22 degrees Celsius ambient. That CPU also comes with a slower 4xe core 64EU's iGPU. Due to the RAM crisis, it's only accompanied by a single stick of 16GB DDR5 5600 megatransfer RAM, while it can be upgraded to 96GB with 2 available slots, but that single channel config in my test unit here is going to reduce the performance by quite a bit. You can get it as a bare bone for $300 only and put in your own RAM and SSD. Speaking of which, in today's config for $600, it comes with a pretty fast 512GB Kingston SSD that can do almost 5GB per second reading and 3.5GB per second writing speeds. We're also getting Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth 5.2, while the pre-config here also sports a clean, bloat-free Windows 11 Pro. A rather clunky 90-watt proprietary AC adapter is included, but it can also be powered via USB-C at the back, while on idle it uses only around 10 watt and a maximum of 45 to 55 watt under full load. Included in the package is also an HDMI cable and a VESA mount to install the mini PC at the back of a monitor. At the front, the M1 Lite 125U comes with 2 USB 3.2 ports and a 3.5mm audio jack. And at the back we are having the proprietary power connector, a USB 4 port, USB-C, that also can be used for display out, powering the system, or for a monitor, and eGPUs work as well. There's also a fast 2.5 gigabit LAN port, a DisplayPort 1.4, an HDMI 2.1 port, and 2 USB 2 ports over here for peripherals. Be aware that there are no microphone and no speakers. It weighs only 600 grams. The case is entirely made out of silverish plastic. And it can be opened for upgrades by ripping off the glued rubber feet at the bottom here and then releasing 4 screws below them, while you have to be careful with not ripping off internal cables opening it. Inside we got access to the 2 full-sized PCI Express 4 M.2 slots and the RAM slot or the Wi-Fi card. There is no control center software for performance modes or fan speeds, firmware updates, etc. But in the BIOS there are some minor options for setting the TDP/wattage of the CPU, etc. However, the cooling system in here is doing an amazing job. The M1 Lite is super silent all the time, basically unhearable when idling, and even under full load it is one of the most silent mini PCs I've ever tested, with around only 34 decibel, while the Core Ultra 5 in here never gets too hot, and that shouldn't even be an issue in warmer countries. Now for Cinebench 2024, the M1 Lite scored one of the highest documented scores for a Core Ultra 5125U system, with 585 points for the multi-core and 94 points for the single-core score. Overclocking the CPU to around 45 watt resulted in 5% higher 615 points for the multi-core test. In Geekbench 6 I saw 2138 for the single core and 8113 for the multi-core test. The OpenCL score for the GPU was 17424. In the new PC Mark 10 it scored 6260 points, while a dual channel config would surely help here. I also ran LatencyMon several times and the results have been a bit different every time, but overall it seems as if the system could handle real audio under certain circumstances. The Puchit Systems benchmark for Adobe Photoshop resulted in 5216 points, while the Premiere Pro test wasn't able to finish, even though I tried it several times. In 3D Mark Firestrike I got a total of 3537 points, while the physics score was noticeably higher than the graphics score. Again, using 2 sticks of RAM would surely improve the performance noticeably. And for Steel Nomad Lite I saw 1170 points. The smaller Intel graphics iGPU is not meant for AAA gaming, and while it would certainly run better with 2 sticks of RAM, we can still do some lighter after work gaming on the M1 Lite 125U even in this configuration. For Forza Horizon 5, I was running the game at 900p only on low settings with 2x MSAA, and that resulted in an average of around 14 FPS with stable frame times and 1% loss of 30 FPS. Sure, that's not great or perfect, but all things considered, I'd still call it playable, at least for more frugal gamers. Older titles like BioShock Infinite usually work well. I tested that one with 1080p and medium settings and saw around 52 FPS on average. While here, using lower settings or resolutions would result in around 60 FPS and above. CS2 is playable with more than 60 FPS as well. 1080p and the low preset resulted in 68 FPS on average and 1% loss of 42, while it is playable overall. Cyberpunk 2077 on the other hand is, at least with a single channel config, kind of unplayable. 1080p with low settings and XeSS and performance, which effectively is only 540p, didn't even result in 30 FPS on average. More like 22 FPS, and I guess I won't have to tell you, that's no fun at all. Maybe 30 FPS with 2 sticks of RAM, but I wouldn't bet on it. However, you've got plenty of options for all the games and lighter indie titles, and of course emulation of anything up to until the PS3 or the Nintendo Switch to have some gaming fun on this little mini PC. Overall, for $300 as a bare bone, we're getting a solid mini PC that really shines considering temperatures and the great fan system, which really is very silent. A decent port selection, we can give it some upgrades. I mean, it's not a gamer, particularly not for AAA games, but for image editing and lighter video editing, as well as easier games or indie titles, it will do its job as a lightweight desktop replacement. PS, if I can find a discount code for you, I'll post that one in the description and the comments. And that's already all for today. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to like the video and/or subscribe to the channel, which really helps a lot. Thank you. Also, thanks for watching until the very end. See you next time. Bye bye and tschüss.